Namaskar. I'm Pashupati, Steve Landau. I'm the owner and manufacturer of the Shiva Dancing School of Yoga, and part of what we do is teaching people how to play the guitar, the harmonium, and other instruments. This is a guitar. It's a Martin D28. It's a very nice guitar. And I will show you some of the details of how to tune your guitar. Tuning is important because if the strings are out from each other, they vibrate unharmoniously and they create a bad feeling, just like people who are vibrating unharmoniously with each other. The guitar has these frets which give a half note. A half note is the distance between a black key and a white key on the piano. So this is E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. This A is the same note as the next string. This is the fifth string, that's the sixth string. So the next is A sharp, B. B sharp is the same as C. On the piano, you'll see how that works. C sharp, D. And so this is the next string. The fourth string is D. D sharp, E, F, which is the same as E sharp. Sharp means one half note above. F sharp, G. You notice that those are the same note. G, G sharp, A sharp, B. So you'll notice that this B is on the fourth fret, not the fifth fret, just like the other strings. Then C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. So one way to tune the guitar is to go, is that the same? Are they the same or different? If they're different, and I'm going to change this, you hear that it's not, and you hear the beats. Wah, 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 wah. So that's out. So you tighten the string until it sounds about right. See, this is a little higher right now. So we'll take it down some. Now they're in. So similarly, you do that with each of the other notes. This should sound the same. And you can hear now that this E string is lower than that D. That is, this sounds a little bit off, so this is probably a little bit low. And that sounds better. It sounds good. That's an E note, an E chord. Now what we're going to do is show you how to use harmonics. Harmonics are based on the principle that the whole string is fluctuating and vibrating back and forth. And the string will naturally vibrate in halves and also in thirds. So in halves, this is the octave. And you can just touch it very lightly and leave it there, and that gives you the next octave up. This is an E note that's an octave above that note. So it turns out that the E to A relationship is such that here's an octave and here's a quarter, so that's another octave up. And if here's the third. So this is a half up. This distance is 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. And so if I play this, that's E, 2 octaves up. And if I play A but do the third, it gives you the same note. Okay? Now if I go out of tune, oh, that doesn't sound so good. So I can tighten this up until I don't hear the vibration anymore. And now they're in. Similarly, you do that with the other strings. So if I take the third string and make it too low, let's say, you hear that beating? Na 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 na. So we want to get rid of that. We want them to be in sync. So we tighten this up until we don't hear that beating anymore. That's pretty close. The slower the beat, the closer you are. If it's beating rapidly, rah, 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 then you're pretty far off. If it's just wah, 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 then you're very close. This is a harmonic interference pattern between the two vibratory frequencies that are close enough to each other to give a beat. So that's in. But here, this is the 4th fret, so you can't do that with these strings. But it turns out you can tune the B string with the E string. Sorry. So if you touch here, that gives it to you. Another way of tuning that one is you tune the top E string using your E, your bottom E, and go 2 octaves up. Or you can use your A string. So these are probably a little bit out. And then you can tune your B string. Now I'm going to tighten it up a little bit. And then I got too high. There we go. Now let's hope that this works, because that's pretty close. So you can tune the B string from the E string. So we've learned 2 kinds of tuning. That's out. So tighten that up a little. What's interesting is that using the frets, sometimes the fret will give you that it's in tune, and the harmonics will tell you that it's out of tune. That's difficult. I can't fix that. Sometimes you can play with this string and just stretch it a little bit manually without using the pegs, and that will give you the subtle changes. So that's pretty good. So that worked. Okay. Now that one's out a little bit. Finally, you play a chord. And that sounds really pretty good. Now the other way of tuning is using what we call a cheater. And this is a electronic tuning device. So you turn it on and you make sure that it's plugged up to the G. Is that a G there, Aisha? Okay. And you hook that on the guitar and it will pick up the vibrations. So if I play the E, now it turns out everything I've got is a little bit low because I didn't do it. That's pretty close. The D is low. And I started this without my guitar being in tune and without using a tuning fork or anything. I was just tuning from ear. But now I'm going to use this to see. So this would have played. It would have given good music, but it wouldn't be standard concert pitch. But now we're going to tune to standard concert pitch. So here's that E. And I'm going to crank it up. That gets too high. There we go. And we crank it up a little bit. There we go. We're on the G note now. See? See how they were all low? That's because they were in tune with each other. They just weren't in tune with the rest of the world. Why am I waffling? B was low. Good. E is just a tad low. G seems to want to be off. Let's try using my finger on it. There you go. And what's true is that once you get one string in tune, and the other ones may go out of tune because the changing of the pitch will change the flexion of the neck. So you may have to tune several times before you get it all the way in. So we're pretty close. Let's see. There you go. Thank you. Almost there. Turn it off.
I thought
Hit the red button again.
I did.